I've been on my One Piece stuff lately, and I've just been going back and rereading some old chapters and stuff, and rewatching some old episodes. Just to continue the whole, it's 2014. I kind of want to come in strong. I thought I'd do like another One Piece theory, and it's because of a recent chapter, aka Sabo in Dressrosa. Um, Basically, I want to talk about the revolutionaries and the will of the D. And this is a theory that I've had for a while, but I never really had enough evidence, and I thought that I feel like it wasn't, it didn't have too much stock, not enough evidence. But I think with the latest chapter, I have enough information now to at least try and make a case for it. So anyway, let's get right into it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Sabo. Okay, who that guy presumably, if he is Sabo. He talks about inheriting Ace's will. With the whole Mera Mera no Mi, and you see Ace's in Whitebeard's grave. Remember that in chapter 731, I think it is. Um, the whole inheriting will, and that just that phrase alone, it seems to be a trait of the Will of D families. Much in the same because what on Whitebeard's death, at the end of Marineford, he did say that when people die, that people you can never like wipe out their flames, which I guess is another analogy for wills. People just pick it up and then they continue on with the memory of them, and they continue with their life's work and stuff. And I think it was pretty much clear. It was pretty clear that that was implied to be a trait of the D families. So that's point number one. Number two, what I wanted to talk about was CP units. Every time a CP unit has showed up, the Void Sentry. Now, so I'm not talking about Will D. I'm talking about Void Sentry. Every time a CP unit has showed up, the Void Sentry has been involved. So with CP9, we got Pluton and Water 7, Aegis Lobby. CP5, I believe it was, we had the whole O'Hara incident and that ancient kingdom and the name of it before Clover was shot. This time, I don't see any reason why it's not different. And I have another point to back that up, but I'll talk about that towards the end. And thanks to Robin on Sabri Island when she was talking with Rayleigh and Whitebeard's death, we actually have two different connections between the Will of the D and the Void Sentry. So when Robin asked Rayleigh like, "What is the Will of the D?" and that conversation eventually led into the Void Sentry, and then Rayleigh was like, "I'll tell you all that we know," but then she's like, "No, I'll figure it out on my own." And then Whitebeard's death, we see that the D in Roger's name actually led to a story about something that happened long, long ago, and I think that's pretty much a clear indicator that that's also has something to do with the Void Sentry. So I think we have two connections between the Will of the D and the Void Sentry, and I could throw One Piece in there, and I'm pretty sure One Piece is. I'm pretty sure all three. I've talked about this on a previous video where all three are pretty much like connected, but Whitebeard also at his death says that someone who bears all the wills that have been inherited, that one person will then challenge the world, or I guess in this case the world government, to a fight. And incidentally, the world government is said to be the enemy of the ancient kingdom. And then Whitebeard, with his dying breath, confirms the existence of One Piece. So the purpose of of all that I just said right now was to pretty much confirm that all three mysteries are like interrelated. And I think that's I think that's sort of like necessary for what I'm about to go into with the revolutionaries, right? I think the revolutionaries. So this is my theory. I think the revolutionaries know something major, or most of about the Will of the D. Dragon is the world's most dangerous criminal for a reason, and I think if Professor Clover is going to get shot over it with Whitebeard's speech, and with Whitebeard's speech, those two things I think are probably the most dangerous threats that the world government has ever faced in a while. And I think Dragon definitely knows something about that. And I think it's because of the Will of the D. Sabo has presumably trained with the Dragon. Let's just presume he's trained with Dragon for the sake of this theory. And let's just say he learns about it. We can couple that with the fact that Robin was also with the Revolutionaries for 2 years. So we can also believe that she might have learned some stuff as well. So yeah, that's pretty much my theory. But as to now, if I were to go a little deeper, if I wanted to talk about probable revolutionaries, I definitely think Dr. Correa could be one. She seems to know what's up with the will of the D. Because she looked at Luffy's wanted poster at the end of the Drum Island arc, and she was like, Luffy's pretty dangerous because of that one initial. So she seems like she might know something about that. Now, whether she's with the revolutionaries or not, I'm not sure, but we'll have to remain and see what's up with that. Uh, and I'll talk about law towards the end of this video, because I have a small theory with that also. Kuma, he of course was a revolutionary, and then he got automated like into a robot slash android. Kuma, I think, has some failsafe plan before he got fully automized. There's no way that he sent himself to hell, or pretty much he sent himself to a state where there's no free will. I don't think he would do that without fulfilling something on the revolutionaries' part. Like there was some obligation or some duty that he had to them. Maybe not obligation, more like duty, and more like I want to do this. And one thing that I noticed about Kuma is that notice how he has a Bible and how there are numerous Christian, as well as other like mythological slash religious references in the series, which I think strongly indicates at what the three mysteries are pretty much about. You have the spaceship Noah, or not the spaceship. You have the ship Noah. Well, if that was a spaceship, that'd be crazy. But we have the ship Noah. You have the Adam tree. You have the Eve tree. Devil fruits, things like that. There's a lot of like mythological slash religious references in the series, so I think that's pretty interesting. Another person that I want to talk about is Aokiji. Aokiji also wants to know if he did the right thing by letting Robin live, which is what he pretty much says at the end of the Enos Lobby arc when he appears behind Robin, while they're having that one party. He also admits to Smoker that now he is, now that he's not part of the world government, he sees things in a different light. And I think this could imply that he is with the revolutionaries for both those reasons, for the thing with Robin, and for what he said to Smoker. If he's not completely with them, I'm pretty sure he's at least in some sort of alliance with them, or some sort of affiliation with them. And then finally with Law, right? He seems to know about the will of the D quite a bit, and I think this is, I think the reason why he knows some information about it is for two reasons. The first one's a little more direct. He mentions it when Rayleigh shows up on Amazon Lily in chapter 591, and the second time that he references the will of D was more recently in his 1 vs. 1 fight against Doflamingo. Both times he says that the D's cause a lot of mayhem, which is cryptically similar to what Dr. Correa says at the end of the Drum Island arc. And the first reason I think why he knows a lot about it is, one, Rayleigh. I think that Rayleigh might have told him something about it on Amazon Lily before he left, maybe. But the second reason is sort of like my whole theory thing going on with it. The second reason besides Rayleigh on why he might know about it, I think, is because of this Korra person that he referenced after Doflamingo shot him 3 times. And my whole theory about this Korra person is that this Korra person could be a D. And if he or she is, then I'm betting on the name Gol D Korra. And I have some reasons for this. One, Korra-san, the way that Law says it, Korra-san sounds similar to Corazon in Spanish, and Corazon in Spanish means heart. If you notice, there's an empty heart seat in Doflamingo's throne room. You had Pika, you had Treble, and then you had Diamante, but the heart seat was empty. Korra could, presuming this is correct with the whole Korra-san thing, Korra might have been the previous Heartsea, and something might have happened to her. And then of course Trafalgar Law. He's called the Heart Pirates. I believe that's the name of his pirate crew, the Heart Pirates. He's a surgeon. He's also very affiliated just with hearts in general. So I'm thinking that's what's up with it. Now, what does this have to do with the revolutionaries? I don't know. Either Law and / Korra are some sort of spies from the revolutionaries. They might be some sort of members. I don't know. I don't know. But with Rayleigh, I think Rayleigh he has definitely has some connection with the Revolutionaries, because Kuma did say that they had a connection of some sort before he did his thing with the Straw Hats on Saturday before teleporting them to different islands. That's one of the things that he whispered in his ear. And then I guess I can end this video off quickly on that. If anyone has seen that Alabasta / Dressrosa pic that's been going around in the community, I'll link it down in the description box below. Then the ending to this arc should have something to do with either the Void Sentry. It should have, well, not either the Void Sentry. It should have something to do with the Void Sentry, considering the similarities between Dressrosa and Alabasta, and thus that's why CP0 is on Dressrosa. And subsequently, if it has something to do with the Void Sentry, then we can be led to believe that it also has something to do with the Will of D, because of what Robin said to Rayleigh and because of what happened with Whitebeard at his death. So that was just my little discussion on the Revolutionaries and the Will of D. I strongly believe they, at least maybe not all of them, but at least Dragon and Sabo knows something about it, something major, or they know most of it. And the reason I don't think that they know all of it is because if the three are, One Piece, the Will of D, and the Void Sentry are all pretty much tied together, then I believe that they can't know what the final piece of that is until they get to the Rio Poneglyph on Raftel. So, that's pretty much my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my live stream tonight, I guess. I'll probably start at around 12:30 as usual. Or 12 or 12:30, depending on what you guys want. Let me know in the comments below. Peace. Have a nice day. Ace and Law for the win.